Bibliosophie.
I was happy to see you in Paris.
Why are there balloons?
This is the let's make this.
2 gigs beyond. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Sorry that I hurt you, little planty, but I'm glad that I've noticed that you have lovely purple flowers that match my purple hair. All right, I'm gonna try to give you an update. Again, ideally with less rambling. It has been a time, friends. As you can probably hear from my voice, I am not in tip-top condition. Last week was extremely busy. I had a lot of gigs, and on top of that, my mother was in town for a bar mitzvah that we went to this weekend. And as you can hear by my voice, I also got sick. I got sick at the very beginning of last week and didn't realize it for a very long time because my only symptoms were being tired and having a sore neck and shoulders. And those are just symptoms that I experience when I am busy and stressed, which I was. So it's not until this weekend when my voice started kind of giving out and I started having a very covered voice, which was not great because I had a lot of gigs. Sunday was particularly brutal. I had 4 different things and I was out and about from 7 in the morning until 10 in the evening, and it really kind of did me in. So I kind of survived all of that, but it has been a big roller coaster of emotions. Being diminished physically does not help anything. And also tied to that is a lot of emotional, psychological stuff with being sick. I'm not used to being sick, which is great, but it stirs up a lot in me because I'm a singer, so I can't do my job as well. I managed to do my job, but it's scary and I feel diminished. I feel diminished as an artist. I feel like I'm not entirely myself. Even my speaking voice being affected is really a problem for me. And I feel like I'm missing part of myself. I also feel a tremendous amount of guilt. Some of that is bad and unearned. I feel always guilty about potentially needing to cancel something. And, you just have to deal with it. But I'm not used to it. I also feel a tremendous amount of guilt about having potentially gotten other people sick. To my knowledge, I did not, but I am a very adamant about staying home if you are sick. And I didn't do that because I didn't know I was sick until basically I was post-contagious. So I have a lot of feelings, and some of them are normal and some of them are very problematic, and it's just very not helping anything. This week, at the end of the week, in a couple days, in fact, 2 days, is the written exam portion of my last set of doctoral comprehensive exams, which I've mentioned in a previous video. So I'm in study mode for that. I feel overwhelmed. I should be in fine shape for that. I'm probably ready, I think. Everybody else seems to think so as well. But I feel overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed about other things as well. I just feel behind on everything. I kind of got into a lost tunnel the past week, and so I kind of have to climb out of it. I feel behind on emails, on organizational things. I need to think about my dissertation proposal, which I haven't worked on enough, and it's all doable. I'm not really in an emergency place at all for any of these things, but I'm not comfortable and I don't feel like I can do it because I am kind of diminished and tired and overwhelmed and trying to get over the past week. So it's all kind of converging together in not great ways. It's also terrible weather once again, which doesn't help anything. Today I'm just home all day. I didn't have anything on the books, unlike normal Wednesdays, so I'm just staying home. I'm resting, eating, and mostly doing a lot of reading, studying, and that's the plan. Just rinse and repeat. Voila. We're gonna wander out into the wet gray world for treats. This might be a mistake.
Start off with.
Okay, so I am gonna go take an exam for the next several hours, for most of the afternoon, in fact. Am I ready? I don't know. I think so, probably. I am nervous. Let's see. Well, I did that. I feel exhausted. So yes, hi, hello. I am back home. I wrote my written exam. I feel really, really spent and lonely. It's interesting that loneliness is the feeling that I gravitate towards. I've been thinking about this a lot actually in the past few weeks. Maybe at some point I'll have the courage to write something about it. But there is sort of this default of loneliness when really other feelings are involved. And I think it does have something to do with my being a performer. I do feel like I did a physical thing. I wrote 4 essays for several hours, and it's a feat of concentration. It is a physical feat, not unlike a performance, but I don't have the feedback of an audience. And by feedback, I don't even really mean you did a good job, but actually literally just an energy. So I am used to putting myself through really grueling things, but I usually get live interaction of energy as a result of that. And I feel this emptiness right now that I think is partially due to not getting that feedback. So how did it go? I mean, I think the fact that it went, the fact that I answered everything is a good sign. I think I probably passed, probably did well. I know I wrote certain things that were really, really good. I also know that I ran out of time in kind of every section to my liking. I wished that I could have gone farther and deeper in each answer. Did I study the right things? No. I think I didn't need to study, basically. I think that, I think I got myself in a kind of studious headspace, so it was good. But I called upon the knowledge of 10 years of work more than a couple of weeks of reviewing, which is often the case. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna go back out again tonight. I have a couple of hours. I'm gonna eat. I'm just gonna try to unwind. I'm in a weird mood. There was an earthquake this morning. That's also big news. I did not feel it because I was dancing around my apartment, making myself porridge. You will have seen a video of that. So that was a weird way to start the day for a lot of people. Excuse me. I was fine. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, onward and upward to the next thing. Whew. Oh yeah, and by the way, I will at some point talk about some books that I've been reading. Probably that point will be tomorrow. I don't think I have it in me today. So hello, Saturday night, and the feeling is right. Sort of, not really. It's been a weird day. Okay day, but kind of unproductive, but also not really restful, not really enjoying myself, just sort of idling about, especially in the afternoon. The weather doesn't help because I really would love to see some full-blown sunshine. It's not raining, which is nice, but it's also just meh. It's cold. there was some sun, but sometimes some truly lugubrious clouds. So it's kind of exasperating. I need to get out of this sort of late winter gloom and into a springtime melancholy, a more floral. I want to bask and blossom, so please get on that. So I promised that I would talk about books that I've been reading, because that is the purpose of this channel, isn't it? Maybe the purpose of this channel is also just, hello, it's me. I have not been reading that much because, well, for obvious reasons, been busy, but also a little bit uninspired. I'm gonna try to fix this little fringe. That did not really make it better. But I have recently finished two books that are quite similar to one another. One of them is Flâneuse by Elkin, which I mentioned I was reading in my last vlog. This is a kind of history and also series of personal essays on the act of idling in urban settings. Flâner is to dawdle intellectually, especially in a city. The flâneur is a male figure. There is not really a flâneuse. This would be the feminine version of le flâneur, because le flâneur is a really 19th century intellectual, you know, kind of bohemian idler, and not really a feminine figure, not a it's not really a career, but not really a position that is open to women to just sort of look at the world and let it inspire you and kind of waft about and think. But of course, many women have done this, and so this is what Elkin is getting into. She talks about most of all Paris. She spent a lot of time in Paris, and so a lot of the book is focused on that. And of course, it is appropriate to a book on flâneuserie, but also New York, Venice, London, and Tokyo. And it's also mixed in with her experiences. So it's very much a personal memoir plus investigation of the histories of various women who came before her. And that is a type of book that I generally enjoy. I didn't enjoy the entire book equally, which also tends to happen. I definitely prefer art monsters, I think. Maybe it just kind of hit me at a better time. But my interest in Flâneuse was a little uneven, never outright uninterested, but sometimes kind of more or less locked in. I found the section on Tokyo a little uncomfortable because she, especially at first, really hates Tokyo. She moves to Tokyo, and that chapter is really about her experience there. And I don't know Tokyo. It's the one city of the above that I've never been to and that I don't know at all. So I also really can't compare it to any knowledge of mine. And I think I'm uncomfortable with the optic of this white woman finding Tokyo just completely foreign and ugly and feeling so at sea there. But also it makes sense. She was completely at sea. She gets into kind of why, and it all kind of makes a lot more sense, and she comes to love certain aspects of her life there, and she comes to love Kyoto instead. But she can't walk around Tokyo. She doesn't feel like she can walk around Tokyo. And so that, I think I was always like a little bit, a little bristling at how, why, wondering where it was going to go. And it's fine, I think, but also just always made me a little bit on edge for different reasons. A very interesting chapter on the street as a location of protest, and specifically les manifestations in Paris and 1968, and then subsequent protests, so student protests, and made me also not uncomfortable, but always a little on edge. And I've been thinking about why. I think it's because of now my own experience of protest and the very, very cyclical nature of protest and the theatrics of it, which is very much what she gets into. She's talking about George Sand and the 19th century and protesting and the politics of the street, la Commune de Paris, and then Mai 68, and then more recent protests and the kind of naivete and blasé nature of protesting, of just wanting to go out there because you want to go out there, and that can be both naive and very world order changing, world building, but also destructive. And destructive can be good because that can be also an attempt to build a new world order, but it can also just be wanting to shake shit up. So some of this is specifically in her book, some of it is just my own, not even complicated, but multifaceted vision and experience with protesting. So that was interesting and kind of made me mine into myself to some extent. And on the subject of women analyzing and writing about their own lives while dissecting and writing about the lives of other women who came before them, I also read A Life of One's Own by Joanna Biggs. This is the story of the biographies, or a little slice of biographies of 9 women writers, as well as Joanna Biggs talking about a major series of moments in her life, the dissolution of her relationship, as well as the sickness and the loss of her mother. So that is a through line, while she's also giving short biographies of writers like Mary Wollstonecraft, Sylvia Plath, Zora Neale Hurston, Toni Morrison, Virginia Woolf. Oh no, now I've named too many not to name them all. And 4 others. I have heard of this book for a little while, but the reason I really picked it up this time around was because of Kat's Field Notes. She read and reread it and has talked about it a few times on her channel. And my enjoyment of this was general, so I generally enjoyed it, and then some chapters worked better than others for me. I think it's had something to do with who was being talked about, but I'm not sure why. Again, I think it might just have to do with my mood on a given day. Much like Flâneuse, I read this over a long period of time, just in chunks. I would read about a person, basically. And so, maybe it depended on my mood. I really enjoyed, who did I really enjoy? I really enjoyed Toni Morrison. I really enjoyed the section on Simone de Beauvoir, actually. But, it was a little up and down sometimes, and generally liked it. I both read it in this format and listened to the audiobook of it, which is good. So sometimes that would just accompany me while I was doing my bit of flâneuse walking. So similar type of book, a woman kind of looking through her intellectual ancestors and trying to learn from them while also trying to figure her own self out. Hello. Hi. Just finished doing a live for Roshin's Big Book Club. Yes, is that what it's called? I think so. On East of Eden. So that'll be posted. I'll put a link to that. That was really fun. I hope that you'll catch it if you haven't already. But now, I'm gonna read in the sun. It's wonderful. Basking, basking, basking. Heal me. I started My Face for the World to See by Alfred Hayes this morning, and I'm very nearly done with it because it's extremely short. I have about 20 pages left. I'm not gonna talk about it in this vlog because I have already talked about plenty of things. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna wrap up. I need to do some house cleaning and organization of my email and my life in general. We'll see if I get that done. It was nice to bask in the sun for a while and read. That was really, really good for me. All right, ciao. Catch you in the next one.